Hello and welcome back to Empower Your Soul. I today wanted to talk about how difficult some messages are to deliver in mediumship readings and probably Akashic Records and any other spiritual readings as well. And this topic was prompted to me through the mediumship demonstration I did recently, where the last reading, although it was fabulous and it was such a wonderful message, I ended up waking up in the middle of the night having a panic attack about what I said. And it really made me think about how hard this work is to deliver some of the messages that we have to deliver as, I'm going to say, metaphysical professionals, regardless of what tool you use. And it's really tricky because there are so many different things that I think our clients expect of us as people who can read energy. And I think a lot of it is focused around seeing the future and just this background of, I don't want to dumb it down anyway, but like this background of what we do is this like hidden secret. It's like these ultimate life hacks. And if we can tap into this information, this endless, perfect information from the unknown, if we could tap into that, know what our perfect path is, know what the ideal thing to do is, our lives are going to be happy and they're going to be easy. And I think a lot of people come at this work like it's this silver bullet. And unfortunately, when you're working in this space, you learn it is anything but a silver bullet. You might be able to gather some really cool, helpful information that definitely can happen. But more so what happens is it places this additional layer and helps us understand why things are happening. But a lot of the times you can't change difficult circumstances or difficult outcome because, and this was lesson number one that I learned as part of my spiritual awakening, is that spirit is not here to save us. Spirit is here to help us learn and grow, and they will give you what you need, not necessarily what you want. And I always like to caveat that when working with spirit guides in particular, because everyone thinks that they're our best friend, our bestie, right? That's our biggest cheerleader, and they absolutely are. But what they are not is somebody who's here to clear the path, clear the issues, clear the way, so that you can essentially come here and have a vacation life here on Earth. There is no point to that. We did not come here to have a vacation. Most of us, there are some people who do come here and choose vacation lives. I'm a little jealous of those people. But most of us come here to work, come here to learn, come here to clear karma, gain additional perspectives, additional knowledge, go through additional lessons and challenges, and essentially grow our soul. And I know there's a lot of people that come at me on the social media talking about, well, why, if we're so perfect as souls, why do we have to learn and grow? Because we do. Because I think that experience is the ultimate teacher. And if we can learn anything we want in a book or through watching movies, right? But until we experience it ourselves, we have no idea what people have to go through to overcome certain obstacles in their lives, right? You don't know the pain, the physical pain, the emotional pain, the mental pain, the anguish, the relationships, the after effects, right? There's so many different perspectives to, I'm going to say like just generally any challenge that we face, that we need to go through it to learn it. We need to experience it to really appreciate what it takes others to go through it. And that's what our spirit guides do. They push us towards the experiences that help us learn and grow. So if I rewind back a little bit, because they push us into experiences that help us learn and grow, they're not always great experiences, right? They're not always easy things. And I think that's a really hard part about what, these spirit professionals, including myself, do, is we essentially have to deliver messages that these shit things that happen to you, they were supposed to happen to you. These people that left your lives young, they made that choice to come to this earth and have a short life and live a life. And there's some sort of karmic purpose to the lives that they chose, the things that you're going through. There's a reason for all of it. And sometimes here in this physical realm, in our earthly experience, in our physical world here, it is really hard to understand and put context around that bigger picture, that everything happens for a reason, and that we are here for but a blip of time in terms of our soul's journey, and that everything that we're going through that is huge and mountainous and full of so much emotion, and it is our full reality and everything we experience, body, mind, and soul. But in terms of our actual soul, in terms of our higher selves in the spirit world, what we're going through right now, it's kind of like a carnival ride. right? I mean, that's the reality of what we are going through here. So it's really hard, I think, as a professional to say some of these messages that we inherently know are meant for the highest good of our clients. And I think, even though it's really difficult, we understand the bigger picture to some of the more difficult things that happen in people's lives. But as we're delivering those messages to people who maybe don't understand or have that perspective that we do, that creates so much anxiety, at least in me personally, as a professional doing this work. And I think this is why I wake up in panic attacks in the middle of the night all of the time, because I want to come from my highest integrity. I want to leave people better than how they found me, right? Like, I want people to gain this higher perspective, this knowledge that is going to help them on their journey and help them understand the why, and hopefully make their journey, even if they have to sling through the muck, right? Even if they have to go through the hard times, at least give them the perspective of the bigger picture to help them move forward in their journey and not get stuck at where they're at. So when I talk about this, the specific instance, the reading that really tripped me up is this dear, I love her. So I love her so much, but she was unfortunately, I'm going to say unfortunately, you can probably take that away if you don't like that word, diagnosed with type 1 diabetes as a young girl. And I know, because I know this family very well, I know the experience that they went through. And this happened way before I got into this spiritual world, right? I saw that, major medical issue. You have an entire family that nobody has diabetes, trying to figure out, how do we do this? How do we measure this? And this was a long time ago, so it doesn't have the technology that it has today. A lot of this stuff was manual. It was the blood prick test. They would have to test the glucose levels. They would have to figure out how much, I don't even know the terminology, how much, carbs or whatever is in every single meal, so they can apply the right insulin dosage to that after every single meal. And, for a family and a young girl trying to figure this out for the first time, it is hard. And I know that this has limited her life in many different ways. I know that every small thing is actually a big mountain because of it. Because now, can she go do sleepovers with people? Can she go on vacations with people? How, what's going to happen when she goes away to college to do this thing, right? How is she going to navigate having this major medical issue? And, the parents, I'm going to say it, barely trust themselves to be successful in this. How do you expect a child to be able to sustain themselves, speak up for themselves, know what the right thing is? And especially, God, Lord help me, if it was my daughter, I don't think I would ever send my kid to any other house, because if I don't know it, how would their parents know it, right? So this has been her life for a very long time. And I know she's done swimmingly. Her family, figured it out. She figured it out. She's now a young woman that's going to college for nursing. She now goes to camps and helps other kids learn and navigate this journey, right? So she's such an amazing human, but I know that she has felt held back through this diagnosis that happened very early in her life. And I think, and this is the hard part about reading for people, right? So she asked her departed great aunt to come through in this demonstration, and her aunt immediately jumped on the diabetes diagnosis and was like, I know you think this is a death sentence. This is a gift from God. how do you say that to somebody? Like, knowing what they've been through, how do you say that to somebody? And I think that's the problem with kind of what, I'm not going to say problem because it's not a problem. That's the challenge with what we do, and probably why most people don't read for their relatives or close friends, is because for me to deliver this amazing, profound message from this beloved aunt saying essentially, you chose this, you chose diabetes, your family knew what they were getting themselves into, you were able to figure it out, the technology's gotten better, it's easier now, like it doesn't hold you back. And now that you can take that experience and go help other people who are now going through this, and you chose this, right? You chose to have this, like it sounds ridiculous. But like in our human sense, it sounds so ridiculous. So I really personally struggle with delivering a message like that like she's been dealt the short end of the stick in terms of her physical health for most of her life. And yet her aunt comes through in a reading to say, this was your gift, right? Like the cognitive dissonance is real for me. It's so real. So I'm actually going to and I think this is ironically what I'm going to do for, I think the rest of this episode is like channel the why behind that, because it's not hard to deliver the messages of they love you, they're sorry, let's remove the guilt, right? Like the stuff to me, that stuff is easy. Like, let's talk about continuing the conversation, releasing the guilt, the forgiveness, talking about difficult circumstances. But like, for some reason, this stuff for me is so heavy. It's so heavy because I think there's a big difference between different types of messages. And I think a lot of mediums give the what message, right? They give the I'm okay, I'm on the other side, I'm with family, this is who I'm with, this is what I'm experiencing now, this is evidence that I'm around you. And those are all wonderful, lovely messages. But for some ungodly reason, if you're a medium, tell me if this happens to you too, I get the heavy fucking readings about why things happen. Not just the what, not just like the closure messages. I get the transformational messages that I'm going to say, like, not to be a hothead or anything like that, but like change people's lives and help people understand the how. So even though I felt completely off guard delivering that message to my friend's daughter, I know how transformational that message was for her. And I know that she walked away with this incredible new perspective about her diagnosis and how it's going to help her longevity because now she pays attention to what she eats better and how she's going to pay it back and help other people. And I think, being able to see that different perspective is so transformational for people. But delivering those, I'm going to call them the why messages, WHY, those messages are so trying and out there and difficult. Because again, it has to come within the context of the bigger picture that our souls choose these things and that there's purpose to every decision, every option, everything we walk into. And how do you tell somebody that has an abusive spouse that, right? Like, how do you tell somebody that chooses toxic parents that, right? People who have gone through like SA, like all of these different things. How do you, like, as somebody who does this work, that I want to meet them where they're at, but also deliver these messages that are heartbreaking. And as I'm talking about this, Spirit is starting to step in and help me kind of channel the message for this, because I want to give you what it's like as the medium giving these messages, because it's not just me having this conversation with you and being emotionally invested in this. Not at all, because at the stage of a reading where you are getting messages, you are fully connected to Spirit. And mostly what happens, at least for me personally, is I'm channeling this information. And when I say I'm channeling this information, it just comes out. I don't know what I'm saying before I say it. My brain has no say in filtering the information. I'm not receiving it through my clairs and then interpreting it 99% of the time. Normally, it is just me talking to you just like I am now, except spirit has essentially taken over my thought processes and I don't know what's coming out of my mouth. Most of the time, I don't even remember what came out of my mouth afterwards, except I was so horrified in this instance about the words that were coming out of my mouth. And so it's like my brain has completely stepped aside so that spirit can use me as a conduit to communicate and deliver these messages. And for some ungodly reason, I feel like I'm responsible for the messages that I deliver because I'm the person who's saying it, right? And I guess I probably need to get over the fact because I would not have said the things that I said the way that I said it. And I probably need to like caveat my readings this way, saying I have no say in what they say, how they say it, how it comes out at a certain point. It just comes out. Expletives and all for those of you that are used to working with me. So I'm going to ask Spirit to step in and help me kind of decipher this and maybe close out this conversation, because I just think it's really important for people to understand what it's like to give these messages as the medium and then, maybe to receive these as well. But what Spirit is kind of stepping in to say through me is that it's not up to us what people have to say. And I think a lot of mediums struggle quite a bit in terms of making sure that they're delivering a meaningful and impactful message, because I think a lot of mediums do keep it more surface level because it's comfortable, because you don't wake up in the middle of the night having the panic attacks, because I'm going to say it, it's a rinse and repeat. And a lot of what people need to hear tend to be a lot of the same things over and over. So it takes a whole other level to deliver these critical healing messages for people, and that allow them to open up the possibility that there is something more to life, that there is something more to their experience, and to help give them the right perspective so they don't feel like a victim. They feel empowered to understand the root cause, and then as a result move ahead feeling more confident, more conscious in their own confidence and who they are and what they're here to do. And as a result, you're delivering very high vibrational messages. And Spirit's showing it to me like this big wave, like this huge wave that you're going down and up. Like you're delivering these lower vibrational messages of the sadness, the talking about how horrible things are, and then you're kind of bringing them up the vibrational level and helping them understand the why of that. And that huge difference between the vibrational levels of some of these messages can take a literal physical effect on you. So it is very important to ground before and after your readings. It is important to clear your energy, because it's not just your energy that is kind of going through the message. You're also receiving the energy of Spirit going through this. And that's why it's very important for you to stay grounded and clear your energy after a session. Thanks, Spirit. That was a good insight. And then you need to realize that the best thing that you could do is be a conduit for Spirit without filtering the message, without filtering the information, because you never ever know what your client or the person you're reading for needs to hear to help heal, to help move on, and that Spirit knows what's best. So trust the messages that you're receiving, continue to deliver them without judgment, and wait to see the transformational effects that this brings on people. And if you're ever in doubt at the end of a reading, it's okay to pause and say, I'm so sorry. That's not how I would have delivered the message. Are you okay? How are you feeling? And then reminding them that Spirit brings you what you need and not necessarily what you want. And that if the client still looks a little shaken up, you can always say, feel free to check in with me if there's something that didn't settle right, didn't sit right, and that you're struggling to integrate into kind of your knowledge as you process the messages that you received. And then check in with them. Okay, I see Spirit going like dusting their hands off, like they're done. So so this is going to be my personal journey, my personal struggle that I will continue to struggle with, is trying to make sure I'm delivering unbiased messages and putting my human self aside as I deliver some of these really tough messages, or for me, what I consider tough messages. But this is a me problem because I want to be likable, right? I want to be able to deliver the perfect messages. I want to be the perfect medium, the perfect healer for everybody, and that's not my journey either. So I'm sure that is part of this conversation as well. Oh, did I dump enough on all of you today? It's a lot. This is a lot. So I hope this was helpful for any mediums that are helpful and validating for any mediums that are listening. And then for those of you that are recipients of these spiritual readings, mediumship, Akashic records, psychic, whatever the energy is, well, not psychic. Sorry, I'm going to say not psychic, but just keep in mind that the professional that you are communicating with should be giving you empowering information. It might not always be happy information, but it should always be empowering and for your highest good. And if you walk away feeling like it's not for your highest good, then that person is probably a charlatan. Like you should be able to, even if you have to process stuff, it should be able to give you a positive perspective, a positive feeling after the session. And if it's not, then it's not. That person is not connecting to spirit, because spirit always works with our highest and best intent. So if you're walking away feeling worse than you came in, feeling fearful, feeling neglect, feeling angry, then that's when I would question that professional. I have to put it out there. All right. I think that's all I had for today. Thank you so much for your time. I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care.